Today's AskReddit post. What tourist attractions are not overrated? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. Machu Picchu. It's truly breathtaking. Most of Peru is absolutely stunning. Especially if you have the nerve to climb up the death-trap staircase to the top of Huayna Picchu. Absolutely stunning landscape and ruins. All those museums in DC by the capital. They're free and range from pretty good to world-class amazing. Edit, the Smithsonian's. Can't believe I forgot the name. It was insane going from the Natural History Museum, where everyone was pretty talkative and loud, then going to the Holocaust Museum, where you could hear a pin drop. Both were incredible experiences. Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy, France. It looks like the home of a particularly prosperous wizard. It is an actual registered/legal village with a mayor and city services with a population of 29. Until a few years past 2005 you could get caught up by the water going to it. Wait, do you mean the water no longer covers the way to it during high tide? The Terracotta Soldiers in Zion. Very an impressive low-key entrance, and then you come around a corner and it's just jaw-dropping. Dunno if they've changed the entry, but it's very much under promise, over deliver. Quite awesome. Only thing is, do not go during the 3 main holidays in China around May 1st, October 1st and Chinese New Year. The crowds during these periods will be their own type of incredible, but not in a good way. The Grand Teton, Yellowstone and the Redwoods. The Tetons are one of the most picturesque mountains in the world. Went for a hike there a few years ago, and the scenery is so stunning it's hard for your brain to compute that it's real. Banff National Park. Love this. Drive the Icefields Parkway between Jasper and Banff for a real treat. The Columbia Icefields tour was also amazing. And hurry on that one. They're getting less majestic by the year. Arches National Park in Utah. Seems like a different planet. Arches is great. But Zion. I have never been somewhere so beautiful. Zion. Just visited. So beautiful and real/must see. Milford Sound and the drive to it from Queenstown, New Zealand. Milford is amazing. Doubtful Sound is just as great, but without the crowds. Do both if you can. The Louvre in Paris has a well-deserved reputation. There is so much in there that nobody ever talks about. When I visited, I spent hours just looking at sculptures and barely even got to any of the paintings. The nearby Musée d'Orsay is also pretty dope. The museum itself was originally built as a train station in the late 19th century, and I had a great time just admiring its architecture in addition to the art on display there. The d'Orsay is rad. Definitely worth a day. The Duomo in Florence is freaking amazing. We went right before sunset, when the crowd was basically gone. And it was incredible. I nearly died climbing up there, but the views made it worth the struggle. That climb is not for anyone who is either claustrophobic, not in good shape, or has a fear of heights. Angkor Wat. Second this. Some may think it's just Angkor Wat, which is amazing in itself, but there is basically a whole city worth of ruins and walls and man-made lakes. It's insane. Best place I've ever been to, and I've been to a few places. You sound like you would appreciate this place I stumbled upon in India called Hampi. At 1,500 years ago it was the second largest city in the world, behind Beijing, I believe. Now it's just ruins in the middle of nowhere. It changed my life. I've also been to a few places. Catacombs in Paris. The Architecture Boat Tour in Chicago. Such a great time and something a little different from typical tourist activities. I had very low expectations, but my daughter wanted to go. We had the best tour guide. He knew so many interesting details about each property. A must-see for those visiting Chicago. Same here. Our tour guide was this dude whom you could tell loved architecture. He even commented that he's so into it, he follows the local planning commission's meetings. Love that guy. The Path of the Gods hike in the Amalfi Coast. It's absolutely incredible. The views you get from there are some of the best in the world. Also, The Road to Hana on Maui. Highly recommend the Shaka Guide app to play on your trip. It tells you when to pull off and go look at waterfalls. Honestly, I'd argue all of those scenic places are great. You just need really good weather. I went to the cliffs of Moher in Ireland and it was beautiful. Highly recommend it for a day out. Very peaceful. On the topic of Ireland, as an Irish person, highly recommend the caves. There are a good few to visit, such as the Ailwee and the Burren. I now live in Scotland and have totally fallen in love with wild camping and the Trossachs here. La Sagrada Familia, especially the interior. The inside almost made me religious, and I've been an atheist for 30 years. The light through the windows cast on the pillars was the most beautiful man-made thing I've seen in my life. I had the same experience at Notre Dame and Saint Chapelle. Saint Chapelle took my breath away with its magnificence. Grand Canyon. I was fortunate enough to live there, and even getting to see it on the daily doesn't make it any less majestic. Kyoto. All of it. Ryoanji Zen Garden and the Kiyomizu-dara Temple are my two favorites in Kyoto. Fushimi Inari is absolutely stunning. Proposed to my fiancé there. Pompeii. I dragged my family there. They did not want to go, but they didn't want me to go alone. They were wowed. Yosemite. We just won the Half Dome preseason lottery. Really, it was a group effort. And absolutely cannot wait. My knees and back probably can. Better start getting that cardio in, lol. I was worried I'd be let down by Venice, but it absolutely was everything it was made out to be. Actually, everywhere I've been in Italy has exceeded expectations. Lake Como and Milan as well. Same. Everything is a photo. Feels like Pirates of the Caribbean at night. In a good way. Tourists are easy to avoid if you stay away from the main attractions. People were very friendly. Food was outstanding. Wine was too. I fight with whoever says the Coliseum is overrated. I know a place for that. Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Went for the first time last year and barely had time to see everything in a day. It's like the Smithsonian crossed with Disney World, with creative exhibitions of actual spacecraft. We even got to speak with actual astronauts. The Space Shuttle Atlantis experience will absolutely blow anyone away. Doesn't matter how into space stuff you are. The Vatican Museum, the Sistine Chapel, and St. Peter's Basilica are all definitely worth it. The art is incredible. Plus the scale of St. Peter's is unreal. Vatican was easily the place I was least interested in visiting on my family trip to Italy when I was a teen. My dad was raised Catholic, so it was a non-negotiable on the itinerary. I'm still talking about how incredible it was 15 years later. Absolutely one of the most spectacular things I've experienced in my life. And I'm a well-traveled atheist. So glad I went. A total solar eclipse. That was ducking awesome. To anyone that hasn't seen an eclipse, 98% occlusion is like. That was kind of cool, I guess. 100% occlusion is a mind-bending cosmic brain-meltingly amazing experience. Path of totality or nothing. Santorini was somehow more impressive to me in person than the social media / Instagram pictures made it seem. Something about being able to see the remnants of an absolutely huge natural disaster was really appreciable. The part one shouldn't say is that other islands in the area that are less popular are equally, if not more beautiful and cheaper to stay on. Everyone keep going to Santorini though. Imitate my next vacation on another island for less money while I pull up pictures of the caldera. I really enjoyed Santorini and feel like it gets a lot of hate for being overcrowded, but just don't stay in OIA. We stayed south of Fira and loved every minute. Yellowstone. My favorite. Also loved Zion and Redwood. I would never live in Utah, but I think it's the most beautiful state as far as nature is concerned. Either the Field Museum or the Museum of Science and Industry, both in Chicago. The Museum of Science and Industry is one of the few remaining buildings erected for the world's Columbian Exposition. It being situated right on the lake is stunning. I think it's the only building that remains, and, if memory serves, it was pretty much the smallest one they built for that World's Fair. This comment section is my new bucket list. Crater Lake, or is the most beautiful piece of scenery I've ever saw. I loved Stanley Park in Vancouver and think about it often. I'd walked around for a couple hours and went to head back to the bus stop, but got lost trying to find the bus stop and ended up at a scenic lookout where you could see huge mountains in the distance. I'm from a fairly flat area and had never seen mountains like that in my life. As I was looking at them, there was a busker nearby playing some sort of Chinese string instrument that I'd never seen, but it was some of the loveliest music I'd ever heard. That combined with the view was one of the most magical moments of my life. Driving south down the Pacific Coast Highway from San Francisco to Big Sur, ideally during spring. There's a reason it's the most traveled highway in the world. The scenery is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful regardless, but north to south presents better views as you're hugging the cliffs. Petra, Jordan. It's insane. I've been all over Europe, but this was the only country I've been in the Middle East, and it was nuts. As a side note, safari in Tanzania was a scooch overrated. Still awesome. 100% would do again. But a little overrated. Damn. Highly disagree. Tanzania. The Serengeti. Ngorongoro. Tiranga. My husband and I always say that it was a perfect trip. No notes. Moo Woods. Going over the Golden Gate through Marin to Moo Woods in itself is breathtaking. That was my commute to work for many years and it never got old. Garden of the Gods. Eta, Colorado. Shit you not. Was there today. Toured it on the way to Pikes Peak where the rangers stopped us at 12,000 feet. Due to 80 miles per hour wind gusts at the summit. Was an awesome day nonetheless. Having pizza in Naples. The tomatoes they use are so damn good. Amazing. Gelato in Italy just hits so different too. Hearst Castle in San Luis Obispo, San Simeon. Redwoods. I think that the underground tour in Seattle is worth the money, and I'm a native of Wa State. At least the last time that I went it was worth the price of the ticket. It is so unique and the guides do a good job. Also, Pike Place Market is a place that I as a local genuinely enjoy and visit for my own purposes. I go there to eat at the Soundview Cafe and buy incense at Tenzing Momo. There are some things that are overpriced, but there are some things that locals love. Pike Place Market is a ton of fun. Just make sure that you don't go while it's super crowded so that you can really explore the place. There are so many random nooks and crannies to get lost in. The Hagia Sophia/Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, though I preferred when it was a museum. Agreed, it is one of the only buildings I have ever been in which took my breath away. The weight of history really hits you. I also hate the fact that it is no longer a museum. Chicago River Tour. Ancient ruins. From the Romans and Greeks all the way to the Incas to the Mayans. So damn interesting and so cool to see. Sydney Harbour, Australia. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Cappadocia, Turkey. Valley of the Kings, Egypt. Mont Saint Michel, France. I can't believe no one has mentioned Rocky Mountain National Park. It's heavenly. The British Museum in London is worth every bit of hype for history buffs, with artifacts that span the breadth of human civilization. Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Taj Mahal. Holy duck, that was amazing. Worth the many hours of a flight up there. The long drive from Delhi. The sketchy guide who may or may not have tried to kidnap us. The horrific hotel. For 1 hour at the actual place. *WHEN he took pictures of us with our phones. Our phone service was turned off when he handed them back. I ended up saying I wanted a selfie with him and promptly sent it to my parents. Later, we went to a marble workshop where the expensive stuff was on the main floor, the cheaper stuff was in the basement, and they tried to insist on serving us tea in a back room in the basement. My colleague leaned over and said they're kidnapping us, right? So we edged over towards the stairs and ran up. Thankfully our driver was there when we got upstairs because he didn't trust our guide. Still worth it. Daintree Rainforest, far north Queensland, Australia. Most of the museums in London, especially the Natural History Museum. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.